The autumn wind is a pirate, oystering in from sea. With a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head, and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold, and the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down, and laugh when he's conquered and won. Yeah, full disclosure, even though I was rooting for my Cowboys to win, I kind of knew we'd lose. Yeah, call it a hunch, but speaking as someone who was there for the Dez Cott game, in terms of actually seeing what happened, and knowing that the very guy who was the reason why Dez didn't catch it is our head coach, I'm telling you right now, I think we might still make the playoffs, but we're not going very far at all. And actually, I'm being optimistic. I don't think we're going to make the playoffs anymore. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have a better record than everyone else in our division, but still. If we win, it's going to be like by default or something. It ain't looking good. So, with that in mind, my low is the fact that the Cowboys did, in fact, lose. But everything else was great, you know. My high was the fact I did get to spend, time with my family yesterday. I was incredibly thankful for that. It was wonderful. Lots of food and all sorts of other stuff. And my act of kindness is I actually did try and... Actually, my act of kindness was I helped get my grandparents to my brother's place yesterday afternoon. So, yeah, a very busy day, but it was a very wonderful day. And I just noticed, I think this is the 5th day. This might actually be a full week in a row where I'm doing this format. I mean, I don't really plan on doing this format forever, but, Yeah, sorry. I'm starting to get, I'm coming down with something, I don't know. But regardless, let's get through the day. Let's get through the weekend. Hopefully none of you went shopping on Thanksgiving night. You know who you are. And... may the odds be ever in your favor when it comes to Black Friday shopping today. Good morning and happy Friday, everybody. Yes, it's Friday. And with that said, yesterday we were treated to the Thanksgiving episode of Hot Ones featuring Rob Lowe. And with Rob Lowe, there was actually a few things I did learn about him that I otherwise didn't know. I mean, believe it or not, when it comes to any project he takes, he always asks his wife for advice, which that is the sign of a good marriage, okay? If you don't know, ask the closest person in your life for advice. He goes, and if, his wife isn't having it, he won't bother doing it. As well as the fact that, what else did I learn about him? Oh, right. Apparently, there were some things that, for those of you people who are fans of Tommy Boy, that cow tipping scene was actually Rob Lowe's idea. Rob Lowe had something to do with it or whatever. So, yeah, I learned a lot of really, really great stuff from that. Rob Lowe actually did really good. He handled the wings pretty well. Although, if you ever watch Hot Ones and they ever eat a really hot wing, there's that one sort of sound that plays like sort of whiny sort of churny sound that you hear when it's very clear they're eating something spicy and it's affecting them. That happened on wing 1. I'm like, oh man, I hope he's able to do this. But he was able to. And, that's fine. That was really cool. What else did I learn? He loved, for those of you who are also fans of the Comedy Central roast, I actually like the roast myself as well. Rob Lowe talked about how he loved being roasted. He did. In fact, he even talked about how his wife was in the audience, but, he took it. He had himself like a pro, man. Seriously, Rob Lowe is just one of those guys where, over the years, he's just gained more and more, of a following and popularity and stuff. And I never disliked Rob Lowe at all. Unfortunately, I mean, listen, there's lots of celebrities and people out there it's possible you're not going to know who's who until you get to a certain point. You're like, oh, that's that guy. Oh, sorry. Trying to fight back a yawn or whatever. So, the main reason why I'm in this format, you guys already know, is that Totally Not Mark did another part of his blind review for Naruto. And it's actually the last one he's going to be doing in 2021. Because he originally planned on taking December off, but then with Spider-Man No Way Home coming out, he wanted to take December to talk about the Spider-Man movies. All the Spider-Man movies, one with Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, all of them, right? So, this will be probably the last time I talk about Naruto for a little while, until 2022 myself, because it's the last time he is talking about it, which, to be perfectly honest, considering the arcs that he did talk about yesterday, and what these arcs I'm talking about are, it's a good stopping point for now. It is. In fact, no kidding, where it stops is right before, actually, a little bit before I actually started reading the Naruto manga. So, there you go. Anyway, the first arc after the Akatsuki Rescue Mission arc is the Tenchi Bridge arc. Basically, one really great seamless fact about Naruto that's always made it good is they continue the story along in a way that's really smooth. And things that are brought up in one arc are almost certainly brought up in the next one. For example, in the Akatsuki Rescue Mission arc, Sakura defeats Sasori, but Sasori says he has a double agent working for Orochimaru, which Naruto and Sakura want to find in order to save Sasuke, and it ties in so seamlessly. It's great. So, I'll never forget, I was a junior in high school. This was spring my junior year. And I was watching Naruto episodes on YouTube, because that was my only real means of finding them at the time. And from start to finish, I was just enthralled and happy with, what I was seeing. I mean, as soon as I learned that the story continued after the original Naruto, I'm like, I want to know what happens next. Does Naruto ever find Sasuke? And he does, but I'll get to that momentarily. And right out of the gate in this one, they bring up the fact that Naruto fights Orochimaru. And I'm not going to lie, Orochimaru was one of those characters that you just love to hate. And it was great seeing him play on the defensive. It really was. Although, a part of me is thinking, okay, even though Naruto has clearly released too much of the Nine Tails power and is therefore losing control, he should have already dealt with Orochimaru by now. But, of course, the plot wouldn't allow that. And so, eventually, the arc ends with Naruto and Sakura, after 2 years and change, they do find Sasuke. But Sasuke is only focused on one thing. He wants to find and kill his brother Itachi so he can, avenge his family. Yet Naruto and Sakura especially know that if they want to bring Sasuke home, they gotta get even stronger. So, in the Akatsuki Suppression arc, it actually deals with two characters. One character, I never really have given any thoughts as to who my favorite characters in Naruto are, but if I had, one of them is easily Shikamaru. He easily has, of all of the secondary characters in all of Naruto, I would say Shikamaru has so much character development, he's almost a primary character himself. Even back in the original Naruto, when he was the only one in that group to become a Chunin, and he led the Sasuke retrieval mission, and all that. And literally one of the Akatsuki members kills his teacher. And Shikamaru goes and gets him. And here's the thing about this one guy who wound up killing Asuma, his teacher. His name is Hidan, right? Apparently he's immortal because he worships some god or whatever. Shikamaru blows him up, and because he's immortal, even though he's clearly in pieces, his head is still intact and stuff. And before Shikamaru buries him under so much rubble and mirrors of dirt and stuff, he's like, I'm your god now. I'm like, bro, Shikamaru is awesome. Like, honestly, I have a lot of friends who are smart, much smarter than me. But honestly, if I had a fictional character who was as smart as Shikamaru as a friend, like, I would just go to him for advice for anything. I really would. Seriously, like, it's unbelievable. But since the Akatsuki work in pairs, he done a part named Kakuzu, and that's when Naruto shows off a new jutsu that he's been working on to help him, fight Sasuke or whatever. And here's the thing. Without question, if you were to ask me who Naruto's signature move is, it'd be a tie between the Shadow Clone Jutsu and the Rasengan. And little would you know it, both of those jutsu helped Naruto create this new one. I'll explain. See, the Rasengan was created by the 4th Hokage, who, if you couldn't tell, right, the 4th Hokage was Naruto's father, but we learned that a little bit later. Apparently, the Rasengan was an unfinished product. See, at this point, Naruto included something called nature energy, where, it's basically rock, paper, scissors time. That's what it is. You have water, fire, earth, wind, and lightning, right? And apparently, like, water beats fire, fire beats wind, wind beats lightning, lightning beats earth, and earth beats water. And he goes around, again, like rock, paper, scissors in a way. And Naruto's nature affinity is wind, which is both a good thing and a bad thing, because Sasuke is good at both using fire, which wind is good against, and lightning, which wind is weak against. So it's very interesting to see how it works. No, wind is good against fire. Wind is bad against fire, but it's good against lightning. Apparently, like, when it comes to lightning, wind can blow lightning clouds away or something, or whatever. I forget how it works, but it's, water, fire, wind, lightning, earth, water. And circle. There you go. So, this jutsu that Naruto mastered would have taken him many years to do, but because of the Shadow Clone Jutsu, he was able to do it in a mere fraction of time, like just a couple weeks. And it's really interesting how it works, because apparently with Shadow Clones is, let's say I were to make a Shadow Clone of myself right now, right? And I had a friend who took that Shadow Clone and, went off somewhere where I couldn't see or hear them. And they go, and my friend tells the clone something, and then the clone poofs. I immediately retain that information that the clone had, even though I wasn't part of that conversation that they had way over there. And that's basically how Naruto was able to do it as well. Basically, with so many of his clones trying to work on this jutsu and mastering wind energy also, he was able to learn his new attack, the Rasen Shuriken, which at the time, he could only use the shuriken, like it's in his hand, and he's able to, punch it or sort of force it onto someone. Although, eventually, he does learn how to throw it, but that's in a few arcs from now. All in all, this was a good stopping point to end 2021 for Totally Not Mark talking about Naruto. It really was. I mean, this literally was right before I had graduated from high school and was heading to Trinity-Pawling. So looking back on this stuff, it's nice. It's good that, I can look on this part of my life that, I was watching Naruto when this stuff was coming out in Japanese. Which, again, I only just started watching in Japanese because, the internet and YouTube and stuff like that were readily made available. So this was very, very good for me. Eventually, I'll get into some of the complications behind this, particularly after Totally Not Mark is done talking about Naruto. And then I'll give you my thoughts on this series as a whole, which, again, is probably going to be quite a while from now. I'd say, well, if you wait till 2022 to start talking about Naruto again, he'll have at least at least 5 more videos to talk about. Because there's one particular arc that's going to take multiple parts to talk about, for sure. In fact, I'm actually kind of being generous with that number. I think it's going to be March when he finally finishes Naruto. At least I think so. I mean, he'll go over all the movies and other memorabilia and stuff. But, yeah. So, this is fun. Maybe I should talk about the Spider-Man movies too, since he's going to be talking about them. I'll have to wait and see. But, regardless, like, favorite, share, hit the subscribe button, follow me, especially platform on YouTube. I'm very humble. This video for all you guys watching. Enjoy for today. Hopefully, on a wonderful, wonderful Black Friday. And remember, if you guys want to talk to me, we'll be here to land news right back. Take care, make good choices, and let's get your shopping done. So you don't have to worry about doing it at the last minute. Hopefully, you can find some good deals. See ya.